RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
Oh my God. What's up? Hi, guys. This is Tara Devlin, unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you for hanging out. Just checking that everything's rolling here. Rolling along as it should. If I hit all the buttons, seems to be. You guys will let me know if the audio sounds okay. Yeah. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Sorry I wasn't able to do a show yesterday. There's a couple of reasons. I was very tired. Let's put it that way. I received my COVID booster and a flu shot at this. I can't really blame it. I don't know. I was just very tired. They said that might happen. I don't know if it was psychosomatic, but the way I felt, I needed to go to sleep. I didn't even know what was going on. I couldn't look at another pixel. I basically went to sleep very early, so maybe it was the shot, but I feel better, except when I turned on the TV in the morning to see what the hell was going on, and, of course, another uniquely American massacre here in the United States of serfs and lords. And what do we got? More thoughts and prayers. It's really kind of embarrassing. Worse than embarrassing. I mean, I could be embarrassed. I have the freedom. I have the I have the fortune to be embarrassed. Some people are dead. So that would be, being embarrassed would be a privilege for those made prematurely dead yet again in America. And what's going to happen? Nothing. Maybe something will happen eventually when all of these old-timer Republicans die out. But the fact is, we will never stop sending our fellow Americans to their cold, early, premature graves needlessly by gun violence until we get rid of Republicans. They're ground zero of the problem. And they couldn't give a crap who dies. They're not happy unless people are needlessly dying. But we'll get into it. First, let me just say thank you so much, everyone, for supporting the show. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for including this show in your APS Radio News roster. That really means a lot. There are a lot of independent voices over at APS Radio News, so check it out. Tell Charlie that Tara sent you, and I really do appreciate, Charlie, your donations to the community cats as well, and it does go to the community cats, a good cause. I'm sure you guys have, if you're listening, you have community cats in your area too. I do TNR. I work through, I'm a volunteer through New York City Feral Cat Initiative, and we try to, we take care of some of the different community cats, and we get homes for those who can be homed, and we care for the ones who are living outside. So that's what we do. We fix them so they're not making kittens, and they're vaccinated, and they live in harmony with the community, and they help the community. They actually keep, the varmint population under control. So, yeah, people in New York appreciate that. Just got to take care of your local community cats. They need love, too. Boudica would have been a community cat, except she was rescued when she was a kitten. And, yeah, that's what we try to do. All right. Well, thank you. So thank you, Charlie, for supporting the show and the community. You're supporting the community and the community cats through supporting the show, so I appreciate it. So, yeah, I mean, if we were living in a normal society that wasn't teetering on the brink of Christofascism, that's probably the kind of show we would have. We talk about animal rescue. And isn't that the point of having a constitutionally limited democratic republic, of having the freedom that that others fought, bled, and died to entrust to us, so we could be freed to do other things. We didn't have to toil in the fields all day for our betters and await our rewards in heaven. And that's the way it was for thousands of years for people who were not born into wealth, which was the majority of Earth. And I'm sure, I mean, I don't know where I would have fallen on. I don't come from royalty, that's for sure. So we wouldn't have the freedom to do anything except go to church, maybe on Sundays, depending. And that was always up to your lords. So and we've talked about it before here, even in the early part of the 20th century, that was a luxury. In the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, there was a sign that has become an infamous a touchstone for the labor movement, so we remember where we came from. And you might see the sign in different labor union halls that say, if you don't come in on Sunday, don't come in on Monday. And that is a throwback to the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, where they didn't even have Sundays off. You could only do what your betters allowed you to do. And this is the kind of world that, and I say betters with quotes, because they're not exactly better. There is a sickness where, in this country especially, I wonder, I guess some of our international listeners can fill us. I guess it's probably a human thing, but more, I guess here we've been so propagandized through our different media silos, since the right-wingers are just sucking on on propaganda, that propaganda channels that have to pay $2 billion for lying to them. And they think that we have a middle class or we had one, now the middle class is shrinking. It's now we went from the most to the least upwardly mobile, and the most Americans have fallen below. We're not the middle class, in fact, is now less than 50% of the population, and that is a disgrace. But it's because of government policy. And it didn't, the middle class that was created during the time called the Great Prosperity, and that was the result of FDR's New Deal, was created deliberately through policy, not because billionaires felt like trickling it, or the rich or the robber barons felt like trickling it. It was because of policy that built the economy from the ground up. And because ever since Reaganomics, we've been sliding lower and lower on the ladder, while also, what's so devious about Reaganomics was that during that time, when they started to shrink they started to basically rob from the middle class and funnel it to the rich, and that's exactly what they did through tax policies. And we could, go into it more with charts and graphs, right? But they also increased the what do you call it? The ease or the availability of credit. So as the so-called middle class, the working class, most appropriately, were being squeezed, the availability and the ease of getting credit was broadened, so that you could maintain an illusion of prosperity on credit, and also therefore dig yourself deeper into being in debt, to literally and figuratively to the rich. So that was another way of controlling, and that is, that's not me talking. That's the truth. It's fact. In fact, before Reaganomics, it was if the ease of credit, of getting credit, was a little bit more difficult to get credit. And instead of credit or credit cards, things like that, if you wanted something, you would put it on layaway, right? Remember the layaway plan? Stores didn't have credit cards. They had layaway plans where you could go in and you can put a little bit down every month until you got the thing that you wanted. But you weren't being funneled into credit, because that's another way of grabbing you by your just grabbing you by your anything, by your short hairs, I suppose. All right, hold on, let me lower this music. We don't need this right now. We don't need this shit today. Where is it? All right, and thank you, Jim, for your super chat, and thank you for doing double duty in the chat room as the moderator. Right now, I think you're the only one in there. I don't see Haiku or Mark, but that's okay. They're allowed to have a life outside of Tarabuster. I know it's. I say that to myself just so I can convince myself that it's true. All right, so where do we even begin? Right, where do we begin? It's such a shit show. I was hoping that I would simply be able to talk about what a monster show unfolding in the House because of the Republicans, and it's a shit show. It's an embarrassment. It's an international disgrace, and Republicans just got worse. They are worse. It is now an insurrection party. For those who missed it, I'm sure we do. Well, I see JD. Nice to see you, JD, in the chat from England. You lucky bastard. But these filthy fascists voted on a speaker, and it's a christofascist who also was a key part of the insurrection. So now, being an insurrectionist is a litmus test for the Republican Party, except it's a litmus test. Not do you reject insurrection, but do you embrace the insurrection? Are you on board with the insurrection? So we better be aware, and let's not take this lightly. Now, I am of the belief that the American people, this can't be acceptable. Not only is that asshole Mike Johnson an insurrectionist, he's a Christofascist. He is, in my opinion, I don't know, of course, but he is so anti-gay. To me, my gaydar goes off. You can't be that anti-gay if unless you're struggling with your own bullshit, with your own sexuality, and because he's a Christofascist, he blames it on Jesus. You see, but if he was an actual Christian, there are so many other things he can do as if he was an actual Christian. Like feed the hungry, clothe the naked, visit people in prison, not be a douchebag, not do everything that Jesus told you not to do. Jesus said nothing about gay people. He said nothing about trans people. In fact, we've discussed it on the show before. There are stories in the Bible where he heals what many biblical scholars say is a gay boyfriend, as a boyfriend of one of these, of a centurion, probably a slave, but also that could be translated in or understood as this person's lover. Who was dear, even though he was a slave. A lot of slaves. In fact, that's what's so interesting. This is an aside. It's so interesting about the Roman just stories of Rome, because they were such a litigious society. You could read some of the lawsuits, and some of these lawsuits were actually brought by enslaved people. I mean, they had a very different view of being enslaved than we did. It wasn't a racial construct. It was an economic one, I suppose, but also, yeah, I mean, not that they didn't have hierarchies, but there were incidences where enslaved, where one I'm thinking of in particular of a young girl who was brought up as a slave in a household, and then she sues her owners for freedom, I believe. I'm not sure exactly now that I'm saying this, but then she ended up losing the case, but her the response in the court from the people who owned her it was very interesting, because they were upset that, they couldn't believe how she could turn against them, because they had given her everything, except she wasn't free. They were fond of her. It's like, I guess I would feel the same way if Boudica became self-aware and then took me to court for keeping her, in the house or something. I don't know. She likes the house. That's a bad example. She doesn't want to go out anyway. So, all right. What was I saying? Where the fuck was I? How did I bring that up? All right. Wait, hold on. As you can hear, I'm losing my voice. So let's see. Where do we begin? Should we start with the shooting? I guess, because it's all kind of related. And what shooting? People from all over the world say. Today's shooting. Massacre. Not just shooting. It is a fucking disgrace. And I'm pissed, I gotta tell you. I've been online all day. And this is why I think I needed yesterday. I needed not to look at a goddamn pixel, frankly. My arm's sore, and I was very tired, but I was like, I just can't look anymore. I can't see anymore. I need to just shut my eyes. Because when you wake up, when you see what's going on, and then nothing is gonna be done immediately, if not sooner, as this massacre began to unfold, the Republicans hit us yet again with their thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and effing prayers. And, of course, another thing that they are clinging to is mental health. We have a mental health problem here in America. This is what they're saying. But yet, they vote against every effort to increase mental health access from sea to shining sea, whether it be in the school, whether it be in the Veterans Administration, wherever it may be. Because Republicans, they hate America. I don't even know how to say it anymore. They really do. They are confused by America, but they are fundamentally unfit. They're in office to do nothing except receive accolades, go on podcasts, hang out with billionaires, be kept as pets of billionaires like Uncle Clarence Thomas, who is a disgusting bribe sponge, for Christ's sakes. And all the while, their propaganda outlets will be churning out the distractions and the bullshit, so we do nothing. So all day, not the whole day, but part of the day, I noticed that shall not be infringed was trending on Twitter, which I always respond with, well-regulated militia. What effing part? Because they're like, what part of shall not be infringed do they not understand? Do liberals not understand? What part of well-regulated militia, you mother effing blood-soaked goddamn murderers? What part in the Second Amendment does it say that you have the right as a citizen, as some douchebag, to walk around with an assault weapon. It doesn't. Well-regulated. What part of well-regulated don't you understand? Well-regulated. I mean, hello? Well-effing regulated militia. A one lone stupid walking around, with an assault weapon is not a well-regulated militia. And in fact, in the Constitution, it also states, because these assholes think they talk about the Constitution, it's like they talk about the Bible. They use it as a cudgel. They cherry pick whatever the hell they want to cherry pick, and they don't pay attention. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's the point. What part of shall not be infringed? Don't you understand? What part of fucking well-regulated militia? And in fact, in the Constitution, it gives Congress the right to form these well-regulated militias and to arm the well-regulated militias, meaning they're talking about the fucking National Guard, assholes, not you, them. So what part of the friggin' well-regulated militia, shall not be infringed? Join the well-regulated militia. Now, apparently this guy was in the well-regulated militia. He was in the reserves. And, a couple of moments before he became a bad guy with a gun, he was a good guy with a gun. And I'm sick of that, too. I'm sick of these assholes talking about, the same shit, but the solution is staring us right in the face, and they're standing in the way. They're standing right in the way of it because, they're not done taking those bribes. They're not done with, they're not done. They don't care who dies. How many times I got to say it? They wouldn't pull a hair for this country. They wouldn't do a damn thing to save one American, much less the thousands that have been needlessly murdered by them. They created this. They created the atmosphere for this, and then they throw up their hands and say, there's nothing we can do. Oh, I have them. Hold on. I guess my voice is... I knew it was good. I think there is something going on as far as, feeling run down. So I hope my voice isn't annoying or more annoying than usual. Yeah, hold on. Here's, where is he? Let me see. Oh, here's Sean Hannity.
What bothers me, and I could literally probably count the seconds before an incident like this becomes politicized.
Oh,
and that part of it I never like, because that's not going to bring back lives.
Yes, because you give a shit, right, about lives. Oh, they're going to politicize it. And here we go again. These propagandists who had to pay $2 billion for lying to... $2 billion and counting, by the way. So that had to pay $2 billion and counting for lying to people. They're crying about politics. Of course it's politics. That's what got us here, assholes. It's politics that the Republican Party will not do a goddamn thing about our gun massacre problem, our uniquely American gun massacre problem. Of course, and then it's like they're above the fray, and it's they're so typical. They're such a bunch of fucking tedious bores, because it's the same old shit all the time. Oh, it's politics, like as if they're not the ones that are stirring the pot constantly, and they're not in politics. Sean effing Hannity, the stupidest man in media, not that I called him that, that's what he's been called by insiders. But the stupidest man in media is, he was actually calling people trying to get this, his thumb on the scale for Jim Jordan, for Jack It Off Jordan, and then for this Mike, whatever the Johnson character, christofascist. So but now he's crying about politics because he doesn't care how many die, because it's not him. As long as it's not him. And what? Oh, I can't. No. I'll get kicked off YouTube if I say what I want to say. Okay. Right now. Oh, I could count the seconds until they make it political. Hey, asshole! It is political. Of course, it's political. Everything's political. From the price of, as the Bertolt Brecht quote, the price of the meat, the price of the milk, from everything is political. And they know that, but oh yes, they're just playing politics. You damn fucking right. We will play anything we have to play. I'll play the goddamn harpsichord if it will stop these massacres. But you won't do shit, will you? And then, this idiot is sitting there, Hannity, this, Joseph Goebbels, is sitting there with Nikki Haley, another performance artist in the Republican, race to be vice president of a fucking con man. I gotta stop the cursing, I know. Of a con man who received fewer votes, who is 91 times indicted, con man, a criminal fraudster, a serial fraudster, a serial bankrupt, tax cheat, friggin' trust-funded brat who bankrupted his daddy's trust fund 5 times. And, they're all tripping over each other to be this crook's vice president. And they can't wait to what? To make sure that we have more guns and more death and pretend to love Jesus and pretend that their policies aren't killing people. They're so pro-life, right? If only they loved Jesus as much as they say they do. If only. You notice right out of the gate, this Johnson character, he's praying. They're all praying. I got to show you this picture. Oh, my God. You want to puke? Where is it? I hope I have it. Well, let's keep... I'll play this, continue to play this Hannity while I look it up.
And that part...
Oh, I can count the seconds until they politicize more death that you helped enable and are continuing to enable. Who will be next? You can't go bowling. You can't go to a bar. You can't go to a concert. You can't go to the supermarket. You can't. What else? You can't go to a hotel. You can't go to a church. You can't go to a synagogue. You can't. Without taking your fucking life in your hand. Oh, you can't go to school. Excuse me, I forgot that. Can't go to kindergarten, elementary school, high school, college. That's Republicans for you. And this will continue until Republicans are out of power.
Probably count the seconds before an incident like this becomes politicized. And that part of it I never liked. Because that's not going to bring back lives. And then I always ask the question,
you're so torn up.
When something like this happens, what is your plan? What do you do? I have a personal security plan. I train in mixed martial arts. I've been a big believer in the Second Amendment for a long time.
Wonder Woman?
With the prayer that I never...
I train in mixed martial arts, he says. Who is he? He's Diana Prince? Bing, 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 with the bracelets? I train in mixed martial arts. I have, those bracelets from Paradise Island. Ching, ching, ding, bing, bing, bing.
Whatever to use it.
I don't think your mixed martial arts is going to stop a bullet from an assault weapon that's flying at you 30 rounds a second. I can't. You horrible person. And look at Nikki Haley. She's just, because that's all she is. You realize that. She wants to be the president, but she'll take vice president. And she's somebody who said after the insurrection that, oh, this is it. Trump is unfit. And then it was like, well, wait a minute. Oh, see, all they had to do was stick together, Republicans. But they're just lick spittles who want power, not to serve. They want to serve themselves. Nikki Haley. And then I love when and I mean love, by love I mean hate, when the Republicans, the corporate media has a focus group, or they'll ask, who do you like now? When they go to the whatever shit show the Republicans are at. And, whatever, New Hampshire, Idaho, Iowa, who fucking cares? It's such bullshit. And they're like, oh, I don't know. I really am giving that Nikki Haley a second look because, she said that very quick one-liner and she didn't shit her pants because the bar is that low for the Republicans. Oh, they said something very clever to another one of the freaks as they were all pretending to want to serve the American people when all they are performance artists. They really should. It's like they should just skip the whole Congress, House, Senate, trying at the presidency. They should skip that part and go straight to the Masked Singer. Go straight to the reality show. Skip it. Go right to, Dancing with the Stars. Leave us out of it. Leave us out of your petty little ambitions. Your low, cunning, petty ambitions. You're not in it to serve, because if you were in it to serve, you would have turned your back on Donald effing Jesus Trump already. You would have turned your back on him. You would have said he's unfit. Because we all know it. We've seen it. We know it. They know it. Because they get all the classified briefings. I'm talking about the Republicans in the House. I don't know about Nikki Haley. She's not, but she did get classified briefings. She knows that Trump is a danger to national security, in the very least. They know he kept classified documents in the fucking shitter at Maramoron. They know what he is. And still, they have no dignity. And like Uncle Clarence, he has no dignity, too. More reporting, it came out about another bribe he took. Very clever bribe, I gotta say. He took a bribe. It was labeled loan, a $250,000 loan that, he just never paid back. And never reported either to the Supreme Court. Never reported to Uncle Sam, the tax man. Because different rules for fascists. That's all they care about. Money, money, money. They got no integrity. They really should be ashamed, because they are. It's an embarrassment how low, how base they are. And I guess that's why they always have to pretend to love Jesus. Like they have to pretend to love America with all their stars and eagles and shit. All their performance art. Because, because Jesus said the love of money is the root of all evil. It's easier for a rich man to go through the eye of a needle than get into heaven. You want to follow me, give up all your wealth, give it to the poor. Whatever you do to the least among you, you do to me. the least. What is the least? Is that the sucking Koch brothers? Which billionaire is the least among? That's all, because all they know is kiss up, kick down. They never met a a hot lunch program, a school lunch program they didn't want to cut. They never met a program that helps average people that they didn't want to defund before they vilify it. That's what they do. That's why they want to make Social Security into a welfare program. It was part of FDR's genius to make it belong to everyone so it could never be cut. That's what he said. No damn politician can scrap my program because it belongs to us all. Rich, poor, high, and low. We all get Social Security because we're in this together. I know Republicans have a hard time wrapping their mind around that while they're making bridges to Nazis and the KKK. They don't want to harm their base or turn them off. But they're all, it's all a show. Everything that they talk about. See, if they were really Christians, you know what would happen? They would not try to kick people off of health care, try to kick kids off of hot lunch, things like that. We wouldn't hear about their Christianity. All we would see is their good works. And that's not what's their good works? What, building a wall? It's another thing that Jesus said, right? When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. Treat the stranger as you would yourself because you were strangers too. That's what he said. You were strangers in the land of Egypt, right? Remember that? When you were strangers? So be nice to people who are strangers. But what do? Vilify, build a wall. Divide, 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 divide. But, Nikki Haley's sitting there like the sock puppet that she is, while Hannity's making an ass out of himself. And, it's not his kid. He didn't get shot. What do they care, right? What do they care? He's got mixed martial arts, like Wonder Woman. He's gonna knock those bullets right out of the air.
Maine happens to be a rural area.
Well, he doesn't have to go. He's not going to the supermarket, right? He's not going bowling. And if he goes bowling, there's going to be a private bowling alley. He's got some other bitch he's shopping for him, I'm sure. He doesn't go to the supermarket. It's like, Rush Limbaugh didn't go buy his own drugs. He sent his housekeeper.
People tend to be involved in outdoor sports. So I would imagine a lot of people are going to have a lot of defense issues.
Defense issues. Oh, yeah. This is what really got on my nerves. Besides everything else. With this shooting today or yesterday, whenever it happened, it's just a nightmare. Today's shooting or yesterday. Well, it happened yesterday, right? Pardon me. Here's what got on my nerves. This was on MSNBC earlier.
You're not using these weapons with a high-capacity magazine for hunting a deer. What's the purpose of that? You destroy the body.
Destroy the body of the deer. Disgust. Because they're talking about how the people of Maine, they love their guns. They have a gun culture.
Absolutely, I agree with you. We're proud of our hunting tradition and our history of gun ownership.
That's a fucking something to be proud of.
young people learn to go hunting with their parents. It's just a tradition here.
Oh, Whoopi, why don't you have a different tradition? Instead of killing animals. This ain't the fucking frontier. I mean, I don't know. Get a real hobby. It's a tradition that we take our kids out and they and teach them how to kill animals what are they doing to you? What's so fun about that? What is so fucking fun? I don't understand this. Maybe somebody on the chat is a hunter. I don't get it. I don't get it. What is so fun about going out? I could see what could be fun about, going out and dressing up and going in the woods and camping. Take a fucking picture. Take a picture of the goddamn animals. Why are you shooting them? Why are you killing them? You're not maybe you're eating them because that will make you feel like a man or something. I don't understand. You go to the supermarket. I don't get it. What is so fucking, thrilling? Oh, we have a proud tradition of taking our young people out and killing animals for no good reason except we like to see the light go out of their eyes. And this is what annoys me is that, when we're talking about this weapon of war, an AR-15, half of them all have to qualify it with, I'm a gun owner. I'm a Second Amendment scumbag. I love my gun. I want to masturbate all over my gun. I love guns. I'm a hunter. Who cares? Who cares? Well, if you like hunting, you like fishing. I used to go fishing with my father when I was young, and then I started feeling bad for the fish. So, whatever. To each their own. And I just think, teach your kid to go. You want to do something with your kid? Bonding? Go to a soup kitchen. Teach them to be kind. Teach them to respect nature. I don't know. I mean, unless you are starving, why? So you can, I guess, I don't know. People like fishing. That's a whole other thing. What do I know? I don't get it. That, fishing, I could see a little less just cruel. Anyway, whatever. Cruelty is the point, I suppose. But you don't. Why are you so fucking I'm proud. We're all proud of loving our guns. Do they say this in any other country about loving guns? They're proud about their guns? Why? Why do you need a gun? Why do you need an assault weapon? You want to protect your home? You don't need an assault weapon. Who's coming through the door? You want to protect your home. You don't. And why do you need an assault weapon? And there is an issue. If someone is collecting guns, there's something wrong with that. I'm sorry. There really is something wrong with somebody. Apparently, like this guy, he was a big gun nut, goddamn nut. Why? But he was the good guy with the gun before it became, the bad guy with the gun. You just can't tell. That's the problem with these good guys with a gun. You just can't tell. I mean, I was in the National Guard. I've shot assault weapons. Is it fun? I guess so, maybe. I mean, it's not like my favorite fucking pastime. We had fun, whatever. With the tracer rounds at night, that looked kind of cool. But we were training for war. It's a little different. You're in Maine. You're in your community. It's not The Walking Dead. And if that's what you want to do, if you're a hunter, you want to go out and kill animals for fun, What? You're going to kill them with an assault weapon? Who banned that asshole, Ed the Second? What asshole? What asshole? So, there's something going on in the chat. I don't know what's happening, but okay. We have a proud tradition of fondling guns here in Maine. Because why can't your tradition be, I don't know, marching bands, animal rescue, TNR, maybe that'll be a good tradition. Helping others. Well, what do I know? I'm just Tarabuster. I'm just on the Tarabuster podcast. Yeah, I know, the Nicole Sandler show. But who? What asshole are you talking about? There's an asshole in the chat? Okay, whatever.
Don't use a military-style assault weapon. You don't use a high-capacity magazine to shoot a deer. And you're absolutely right. We know what horrendous damage these weapons can do. You know, they're meant to be used in a war. They're meant to kill people.
Right. Yes.
And in Maine, we've never had a mass shooting of this scale. We're not used to this kind of thing happening, and we're totally shocked by it.
What is Congress going to do about it?
That's the other thing that they kept saying on the news. They were playing the same clip of them saying, we never even lock our doors. We never even lock our car doors, that is such a stupid thing. And I'm just going to say it. You guys in general, I don't care where you live. If you're in the middle of nowhere, you have to lock your doors and your windows when you go to sleep. Okay. Especially. You need to lock your doors and your windows because you don't know who's out there. Yes, and I'm saying, why do you need a gun? I don't think that people need assault weapons. That's the issue. You want a gun to protect yourself in your home. That's a little, have a gun. Have a fucking handgun. Keep it in your room in case something happens. You're a burglar. But you should never keep your doors unlocked, no matter where you live. That's a very bad idea. And I'm just telling you guys because I hope you lock your doors because there are psychopaths out there. People say that all the time. I never thought it would happen to me. And then all of a sudden there goes the fucking Golden State Killer crawling through your window. So maybe I watch too many true crime shows, but I listened to Candace, what's her name? Candace DeLong she's a retired FBI profiler. She has a show called Killer Psyche. Yes. I like her. She also did, you've probably seen her, Deadly Women, all those shows like that. And she always says, lock your doors. So lock your doors. That's it. Like this town, nothing like this happens here until it does. Until you have some nut job with an assault weapon. Until there's a serial killer. Until somebody's off their meds. And that doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter if you're in if you're in a wonderful community. It happens everywhere. There are sick people everywhere.
Changes in Congress. I don't know how we move it forward with the Republican House.
We don't move forward with the Republican House. They are unfit. They are useless. And as Hannity said, I count the seconds before it turns political. Well, I count the seconds before the thoughts and prayers come flying. The absolute least they can do. And that's all they do. And they call it a day, Republicans. After they do the least that they can possibly do, they say, okay, time out, I'm outie. No, peace out. Here's the new, believe it or not, Republican speaker
This is a dark time in America. We have a lot of problems, and we're really, really hopeful and prayerful. Prayer is appropriate in a time like this.
Isn't it? Oh.
That the evil can end and this senseless violence can stop.
There's
And
like no
so that's
agency.
the statement this morning on behalf of the entire House of Representatives. Everyone wants this to end, and I'll leave it there.
Yes, but we do nothing about it. Everyone wants it to end. It's sort of like Perjury Trader Green. She's, how she said that she was allowed to believe things that weren't true. Everybody wants it to end. This has to end. It's a dark time. It's evil. We all want it to end, don't we? It's like, but we should just pray, because that's all we got. It's sort of like the plague back in the Roman Empire. They dealt with the plague, numerous times. They didn't know what to fucking do. So they would pray. They would go to the, Vestal Virgins and pray and offer sacrifice. They didn't know, because they didn't have the means to understand it. They didn't understand what the sickness was. It was coming from God. They must have, or gods, they must have offended somebody somewhere. It must be the Vestal Virgin. One of the Vestal Virgins must have had sex. She's not a virgin. And they used to bury people alive, and that to appease the gods. That's how they behave. That's the Republicans. We just simply do not know what to do. We hate it. It's evil. Oh, well, what are we going to do? It's like the sun in the morning and the moon at night. We can only pray, because this is a problem that is bigger than all of us. It's like it came from on high, like the Ten Commandments, all of a sudden. Now, here, just an aside, let's play Occam's razor. If there actually was a Moses that went out and went into the mountain one day, what do you think? Do you think he carved those tablets himself? Or do you think it was God? What are the odds? Was it a man who carved something himself and then said it was from God? Or was it a giant cloud being came down and gave these tablets to some dude? I just don't know which could it be. It's equally, there are two actually equally plausible scenarios there. Sort of like Mary and Pantera, the Roman soldier that it got her pregnant when she was, enthroned, betrothed to Joseph, who was an old man. This is how it goes. Like Mary was like 14. And everybody knew at the time of the, when Christianity was a new religion, and it existed simultaneously with the old gods, so to speak, what they became known to be as the pagan gods. And all the Romans all knew that Mary was impregnated by somebody, her boyfriend, Pantera, who was a Roman soldier, just an average Roman soldier, fell in love, or maybe it wasn't love, I don't know. They were young, and she got impregnated, and what are the odds, that she said she was impregnated by a god because, she didn't want to get stoned to death. And she certainly didn't want she had no other future except she was already given in a contract to this old dude. Okay, so she didn't want to shame her family, be put out on the street or worse. So it was God. What are the odds? What do you think of the chances? Was it God, or? The fact that the whole world hinges on some woman, a young girl, who was simply a victim of the society, of the conservative society. And isn't that what happens still? We're victims of this conservative society. Things that happen. Like, for example, I was thinking about, because I mean, frankly, with this Mike Johnson character, he is so anti-gay that I think he's in the closet. It sets off my gaydar, and you know, who's to know exactly, but he simply, I mean, who cares unless you're in the closet, and because of the shooting, I reminded myself of the Pulse nightclub massacre, where I think 49 people were murdered, and the person who committed the massacre apparently was also on Grindr, and those who survived the massacre said that they had seen him in that club before, and also others came out and saying I hooked up with him from Grindr, and he was part of a Muslim family that was incredibly, of course, homophobic, anti-gay, forced by the culture into marrying a woman. And even the woman who was his ex-wife said, he was gay. He would never initiate sex, like a normal heterosexual man. He wasn't interested in sex with a woman. So, but that's the culture, because conservatism sucks. And what does it do? It brings pain. It brings hate, self-loathing. And then it explodes into, massacres and closet cases who inflict their manias on society. And we all have to live in the aftermath of conservatism, of conservative policies, and conservative societies, and what it does to people, how it tears people apart, how it crushes the soul of others. If you don't conform, if you're not just like them, if you don't, if you're a rugged individual, if you're not free to be yourself. They hate uniqueness. They hate difference. You're not free. I mean, look. Here's another. Where is it? Do I have that one? Here's I'm sure you saw this. Mike Johnson, after he received the most votes to be the so-called speaker.
I don't know what the final total was. We're united. There were
Yay! Did you see this?
no votes against.
Mr. Johnson, you helped lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Will you
Oh, God.
Next question.
Little bitty.
Next question.
Shut up! Oh, God. Did you see Bulbert there in the corner? She's like, oh, God. They're actually asking policy questions. They're actually asking things that, we should be accountable for. They're asking, how dare this press, this First Amendment protected profession, the only profession enshrined in the Constitution as necessary for a functioning democracy, how dare they ask us a question about our effing jobs, about the jobs we're supposed to do, representing the people. How dare they ask us whether we're a bunch of insurrectionists? Oh, boo, boo. And who is this old biddy in the corner here? I forget her name. I mean, I'm not being ageist or whatever, but because, she's only like 25 years old, actually. I'm just kidding. That's what conservatism does to you. It makes you, oh, shut up. Shut up, everybody. Oh, boo. And look at Elise Stefanik and that fake ass. I can't take her. She's like George Santos, the same, the same ass smile. That's a. Junior. All right. I didn't put him in the bedroom. It's Junior time. All right. All right, everybody calm down. He's just going to be here a minute. I know we have detractors of the cats. Cat detractors. Boom!
You helped lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Will you
Oh, no! Shut up!
Next question.
Next question.
Next question.
Look at all those white people.
Next question.
So, that's the other thing. That's why I pulled this video up, too. Not simply to point out what a bunch of traitors and how much these are a bunch of fools who are unfit to hold leadership positions in a modern nation, but look at all the white people. Just pointing out a truism. They're not exactly representative of the diversity of the American people. It's all these old white crackers, and they're simply unfit. And look at Elise Stefanik's fake face. They're just so goddamn phony. Oh my God, Trucker John says, Randy Rhoads says the same thing today. That's hilarious. About who? About what? Well, great minds think alike, right? That's conservatism in a nutshell. That's hilarious. It ages you. It really ages you.
I'm very confident.
Yay! I'm very confident. Well, I don't even know. It's sickening. Let me see. Here's Mike Johnson.
This case opened the floodgates for same-sex marriage, or the push for it, because it recognized a fundamental right, a constitutional right, to sodomy, which had never been recognized before.
You wish.
This is where we're headed. This is why it's important to rein in the federal judiciary.
Oh, honey, you wish. He loves sodomy. He wants sodomy. That's so funny about the old lady in the pic. Trucker John says, "Well, that's an easy one." Oh, shut up! Oh, shut up! Who is she anyway? How old is she? I always say that I'm only 25, so it's a joke. I am. I'm only 25. I'm just tired of living in the aftermath. This is what the aftermath of Reaganomics does to you. Oh, shut up. Yeah, shut up, Fourth Estate. Fake news. You understand what I'm saying? That Republicans are what was it? How do I put this? They hate America. How else do I put a point on it? That they really loathe the pillars of democracy, and I want you to, I really want you to see it, when they, because they're not going to come right out and say, we loathe the pillars of democracy because we are fundamentally un-American and hate democracy and are unfit to hold leadership positions in a free democratic society. They'll say things like government schools, or they'll say fake news. We hate the press. They'll vilify the press. They'll other presidents, other administrations had adversarial relationships with the press. But they all, from Nixon, we can look at Nixon because he was a crook. He was a run-of-the-mill, average right-wing crook. Now we have open fascists and insurrectionists. So the Republicans have really dragged us to the bottom. But Nixon fundamentally respected the Constitution, I would say, even though he, was trying to usurp it in many ways. Like when the president does it, that means it's not illegal. But he was put back in his place by his own party, who finally, after crime after crime after crime, told him to resign, and he did. Now there are no resignations. Republicans simply won't ever resign. They don't resign because they're not in there to serve. So they're in there to smash and grab as much as they can. It's like supermarket sweep. Whatever they can do, whoever they can be on the take for, that's what they're doing. Which is why, Republicans don't do anything for the American people. Let me just see something here. Thank you, Elise, for your super chat. Thank you so much, Elise. Let me see. Hold on. What was the question? I want to ask the AI a question. Let's see what they say, because this is a question that Tom Hartman talks about. That he says he has an open invitation for any right wingers or conservatives or whatever to say, to point out what policies, what have Republicans done for the American people, for the average American. I want to ask the AI. I have this question out there too, because what's the answer? They haven't done a damn thing for the average person. What they do is stand in the way. They stand in the way when Democrats try to make a more perfect union, try to throw people a lifeline, try to expand health care, education, living wages, retirement security. Republicans stand in the way. And then if Democrats are successful in passing legislation that makes the lives of average Americans a little bit more manageable, Republicans are there to roll it back. So let's see what the AI has to say. How do we put this? Let me see. Let's get rid of his face for a second. Let's see. Are there any Republican policies? Or how do I put this? Have Republicans passed any policies? Have Republicans passed any or legislation to let's put it this way, that's improved the lives, or yeah, I guess so, right? That's a very open, subjective way to put it. That let's see, that's improved the lives of the average working American. Let's see what it says. Let's see. There have been several pieces of legislation passed by Republicans that have aimed to improve the lives of average working Americans. Some include the Bipartisan American Miners Act, bipartisan, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement. That's, I think, Trump's tweak to NAFTA. Paid family leave. What? That was Ted Kennedy. Let me look into this. Tax cuts. Oh my God. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. It's just one job because all they care about is Trump. the Job Act. They want Trump to have his old job back. His job, and I put that in quotes, because he didn't do shit except sit in his squat in the White House, which he called a dump, by the way. That kind of gets buried in everything else. He said it was a dump because he was, there's no gilded toilets or anything. So, anyway, I see the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This act cut every tax bracket for individuals and families, letting them keep more of their own money, which is bullshit, okay? Instead of giving it to the government. This is what the AI is saying. And the AI is harvesting it from the web. So it's getting it probably from the Republican sites. Let me check. In fact, yes. Oh, okay, yes. It's getting it from the Senate, the Republican Senate website. All right. It also doubled the child tax credit. Okay. That's something. But the fact is, with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, let me ask this follow-up. With the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, that was Trump's thing, right? Because they have to say "and jobs," tax cuts and jobs. Like, jobs are incidental. It's a name, it's a term. It's like, I remember having an internet argument with some right-winger years ago, and I asked, what have they ever done for the American people? I mean, for the American people, we could say what the Democrats have done: Social Security, Medicare, unemployment, freaking Medicare. Did I say that? Medicare? Obamacare, pre-existing conditions protections, on and on for working people. All the New Deal policies that still keep people out of poverty today. And this person responded with something that John Boehner, that's how long ago this was. Booty is doing something over there. That John Boehner had named the something and jobs. And it was just another tax cut. That's all they have, are tax cuts. Tax cuts, yes, Jim. Tax cuts and jobs and thoughts and prayers. So might as well. That's all. Same thing. It's just tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. So, let's see. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires? Yes. For working people while remaining permanent for the wealthy. The other thing is, what they also did with this Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is they took from other places. So for example, what truckers, maybe Trucker John can verify this, that they used to be able to write off mileage, a certain amount of mileage. They took that away. And also, it's a disgrace that teachers have to buy supplies for their classrooms, and they used to be able to deduct that in taxes, but the Republicans took that away. So they took away deductions from average working people. So they said, "Oh, you get to keep more of your money, but you really don't, because they're stealing your wallet and helping you look for it." They're like, "Oh my God, somebody stole your wallet. Oh, here it is." But they're robbing you. They're giving you $10. They're like, "Hey, I got $10 for you," while picking your pockets. So, and that is the truth. Yes. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act made significant changes to individual income taxes and real estate. That's another thing I remember now. When Trump, this was one of the controversies in this effing scummy bill that they passed. It also benefited Trump. That was one of the things I remember at the time that was being pointed out. Of course, that's what he did. Of course they did. That's all they do. They rig the game in their own favor. They're not making policy or passing legislation to help people. They're helping themselves. You know, like somebody comes and you're like, help yourself to my whatever's in your refrigerator, and then they clear you out. That's what the Republicans do. They're helping themselves to our federal treasury. Oh my God, they're horrible. Remember that fucking who was the when they posed with the money? Oh my God, why am I going down memory lane? Posed with the money. The chair of the Fed that they hired, that they put. Oh God, Trump's one of these clowns. Trump's Fed chair. Him and his wife. Let me see. Trump official and wife pose with money. Yes. These fucking bastards. These two clowns that look like supervillains posing with money. Look at her. Look at her. Yes, I know, right? Terry on the chat says it was a nightmare every day. It was. The Treasury Secretary. Thank you, Ed. It was. Every day was a new low, and you couldn't believe it. How bad it got, but it keeps getting worse. It still is worse. Thank God that they're not in the White House. We have to get rid of them legally and peacefully from the House. That's for sure. Or, God help us. Shame on us. Let me see. Yes. Yes, I was right. Almost, here we go. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act made significant changes to individual income taxes and real estate tax. Almost all of these provisions expire after 2025, while most of the business tax provisions do not. Can you believe that? 2025, which is 2 years. This means that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires for working people while remaining permanent for the wealthy. The individual tax cuts, including the lower tax rates, are the increased standard deduction and the double child tax credit expires after 2025. Scumbags. What scum? Because, you know, I also remember how Trump said, what does it matter? Because they were trying to bankrupt everything, and or you know, because this is what Republicans do. It's like how Tom Hartman pointed out. It's called the two Santa Claus. I get, well, it's not a theory, it's a practice, where when they're in power, they spend like drunken sailors, but when they're out of power, they cry about the deficit and like everything's out of control, the debt, the deficit, it's all out of control, and then they cut. But they run up the bill, they run up the credit card, and they spend like drunken sailors. And that's what they did. And Trump added $2 trillion to the Treasury. I mean, to the deficit, the Treasury. I was thinking of those Mnuchin and his supervillain wife, the two of them. The clowns, every single one of them is like a caricature from some kind of surrealistic nightmare, right? Giuliani with the dye dripping, Mnuchin and the posing with the money. You really cannot make it up. All of them. Jim Jacketoff Jordan, perjury Trader Green, Lauren Boebert talking about Jesus with one side of her mouth, the other side is working overtime at the Beetlejuice show. And it ain't, and it ain't PG. Incredible. Yes, the estate tax exemption was doubled. The reduction of the ACA penalty tax, fuckers. You see what I'm saying? Because the penalty, I didn't even know it was still in effect. So, in order for the Republican health care plan to work, to function, everybody has to be in. And this, I hate Republicans. I really do. Oh, my God. They always talk about having skin in the game. This is why it sucks here. JD on the chat, who is living in a country that has health care for everybody. I can't imagine the freedom of not having to beg on GoFundMe for medical care. But anyway, I mean, you will never know the freedom of that, JD. But according to what I'm reading here, it's just reminding me of because the ACA sucks. The Affordable Care Act, it is what it is. It allowed more people to get health care. Now you can't be denied. As far as when you signed up in the past for health insurance, it's not health care, it's insurance. You're signing up with a for-profit insurance racket. They could deny you. They had to get, it was like getting life insurance. You had to get a whole physical, and they would have your list of pre-existing conditions, and they wouldn't pay if you got sick, if you needed help for your pre-existing condition. Unless you got a job, then you could get insurance through your employer. But if you got fired or you got laid off, you were shit out of luck. So, and then you would go to the insurance company and they would say, "Oh, sorry, you have a pre-existing condition called life, and some of these things we're just simply not going to cover." And they also had lifetime caps. So young people, for example, a young person that might have leukemia or something when they're a child would hit their lifetime cap before they would even hit puberty. So after that, they were fucking shit out of luck. And then if you got sick, if you needed your health care or your health, you needed insurance, you needed to get medical care, if you got a serious illness, they would go through your policy and find any loophole to kick you off. And that was called rescission, meaning that, that's, some people would do that. That was their job. They would have to, oh, well, you didn't disclose that you took Accutane as a teenager, so you're like, fuck off. You're on your own, bub. And many people needlessly died because of lack of health care. And then the other thing is that when you get sick and you don't have the money, they would, you delay care. So something that was treatable at one point became a crisis. And that's why it's the most expensive health care in the world. And it still is. It still is the measurably worst health care in the entire developed world, except here we keep, we have a lot of assholes who live here and stupids. They are completely propagandized And they keep hearing, Republicans keep saying we have the best health care in the world, we're the best. And that's what they think. They regurgitate it. And I even hear idiots, like in general, like I tell you, when I play that game and whatnot, what some of these dum-dums, they'll on the chat, they'll say, not this chat, the chat for the game will say, because it's an bunch of international players, and they'll say, well, you have high taxes because you have to pay for everyone's health care. And my head wants to explode, okay? Because these fucking idiots are so stupid. High taxes? You know, they're dumb as a rock. And they're also as dull, you know? It's not about paying taxes. We already pay high taxes, but we get nothing for it. You know, we get to bomb, wedding parties in Afghanistan. And there's no social, there's no, as Bernie Sanders' plan detailed, and this is when the Republicans killed us because, and the stupids believed it. Because they say, well, your taxes are going to go up. Your taxes. And Bernie would say, yes, they might go up a little bit, but you will never have to pay a deductible again. You will never pay a premium. You will never pay, if you get sick, you will you will have freedom to go to a fucking doctor when you're sick. So they would rather pay top dollar out of pocket than say, my taxes went up. But in the long run, you will come out better for it. We already pay a high tax rate. And we pay taxes for the people, for the shitty healthcare system. We pay the most and get the least, and we still leave millions out. And that is unacceptable. But, according to this fucking country, it is acceptable. It's great leaving millions out. That's what always gets on my nerves with even with Democrats, because they're like, we insured another million, zillion, whatever people. And okay, but we still have millions with nothing. So, it's not a success when we're leaving people behind. We're leaving millions out. But that is part of our damage here, and that's why FDR was so damn clever. He understood that that Social Security had to belong to everyone. And it's also a unifying policy. It's all of ours. That's why they can't touch it. They can't cut it. Because people know the truth. We're all in. And of course, with Republicans, it's all they do is divide. That's another reason they don't want us to have universal health care, because they would take us one step closer to being, a more perfect union. And I think that we can't be a successful country unless we take care of each other. Unless, the general welfare is not just some abstract statement. It's a goddamn action. The Constitution, freedom, that's an action. And that's how Democrats really need to frame it. That you're not free. If you can't go to a doctor when you're sick, you're not free. You're not free. And in fact, with your health care being tied to work, you're not free. How many people do we know that couldn't leave a job because of health care? They couldn't leave their health insurance. Ridiculous. It stayed in shitty jobs with shitty nowhere jobs, right? That they didn't want to do. But that's not, you're not free. If you have to take a job that you don't want to take, or you want to stay there, maybe you have a dream. You want to set up your own business. They're always. This is why I hate Republicans. They're so fucking full of shit with their business entrepreneurship, but they don't make it possible. They don't invest in the American people. It's like the freedom of not having to worry about health care allows people to take risks. It allows people to be innovative and set up a business and, maybe take that chance. But, you have to pay for, that's why you pay higher tax. Fuck you in your taxes. You pay higher taxes. And I even heard some asshole, believe it or not, there's this YouTube channel. I stopped watching it because I can't take this idiot on there anymore. One of the I was telling you guys, one of the things that it's a distraction that I watch sometimes. These predator catchers like Chris Hansen. I love the master Chris Hansen. He sets up these sting houses. Have a seat, Chris Hansen. He's a genius, and he set this whole genre of, I guess, I don't know what they call it. They set up these accounts, and these men come over thinking they're gonna hook up with a child, okay? But then they find they get the silver bracelets instead, which is good. But so there are a few other copycat type organizations that do it now, and one of them is run by a guy he's very young. He's in his 20s, and he's a right winger, and it's so I can't even stomach it, because every time, and this is what I mean about Republicans, they don't know what's appropriate and when. They can't help but spew nonsense all the time. So he comes out with, in the middle of these predator catcher stings, he'll be like, well, this is like when Joe Biden, he sucks, blah, blah, like some fucking stupid right-wing talking point will come out. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't take it. And then he got kicked off there. I don't know why I'm just rambling about this, but he got kicked off YouTube or put in timeout for being racist, but then, of course, he says, I was canceled, or because he was saying some racist shit, because he can't help it. And then he said, this is what I was done, finally, because I was like, oh my God. He's like, I said something about Trump and how he likes that Trump is gonna, if Trump gets reelected, he's gonna lower his taxes. Okay, I mean it's such a scam. Lower your taxes. These fucking people are. How stupid do you have to be? Are your taxes lowered with Trump? I don't think so. Do you guys? Did you see such a difference in your lowered taxes? But also, the other thing is, what do you think runs civilization? It's so true. Pookie's on the chat. People eat it up. Where do you think the roads come from? The infrastructure, the water, the FDA inspection of the food, the protections, the legal protections, the ground rules of civilization. Where do you think that comes from? Out of somebody made a road one day. Somebody came up with thanks a lot, making the road, digging the well for me. I'm so sick of it. All right, well, let's get back to, I know I'm a little bit off the trail tonight here. Let's get back to, Here's another thing that annoyed the hell out of me. Well, here's Susan Collins talking about the massacre in her state.
Thank you, Mayor. Today is a dark day for the state of Maine. As the mayor said, our hearts are heavy with grief. This heinous attack, which has robbed the lives of at least 18 Mainers. And
okay, I just want to point out here that what is Susan Collins bringing to the table? I'm pointing it out, setting up the scenario. If you're listening audio only, it's Susan Collins at a press conference with other political leaders in Maine, and she's not saying anything. It's like giving a book report. That's what they do. It's like, but that's what Trump used to do when he would give whatever. He would say something. He was like, here we are at this manufacturing plant, and there are 100 people working here, and they make widgets. Did you know that? A lot of people didn't know that. And it's like they got nothing. It's so, I mean, are you justifying your cushy job by giving us your itinerary? I don't need to read your date book. Because that's what she goes on to talk about, how I met with this guy and I took this phone call, and she's not saying anything. Why don't you say, we need to ban assault weapons, Susan? That's the problem. It's not just mental health. Yeah, the guy's sick, but what sick society allows the sick to have assault weapons, weapons of war? Anything to say everything but the gun.
Injured so many more is the worst mass shooting that the state of Maine has ever experienced.
Wonderful.
And
Thank
could
you
ever
for your book
imagine.
Report. It's like
Today,
a 12th grade book
I looked
report.
out my window in Washington and I saw that the flags had been lowered. And I realized that it had been done to honor the victims of this horrific attack.
Okay.
I'm grateful for the leadership of Lewiston Police Chief St. Pierre and for the bravery of the hundreds of state, local, and federal law enforcement officers who are leading the search for the killer. I'm also very grateful for all of the hospital employees who came back to work to take care of the victims.
What about the gun?
And for our first responders whose bravery was so evident.
How about the
Last
gun?
night, the president called me. He stepped out of the state dinner with the Australian Prime Minister.
He called you?
To offer any help that the federal government could provide the city of Lewiston,
What about the gun?
Androscoggin County,
What did he say about
and
the
the
assault
state of
weapons
Maine.
ban?
I also, at midnight, talked to Governor Mills, who has been a pillar of strength for our state. Tom Perez, who is a special advisor to the president throughout the night, texted me back and forth, what you need. And I would tell him based on conversations that I had as he coordinated the federal response.
Whoopee fucking
This
doopie,
morning,
thanks.
Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, has called and
It's like mind numbing. It's like me telling you, before I started the show, I logged into Google Chrome with my Tarabuster Gmail so I could start my YouTube channel. Then I opened up the eCam and the loopback. That's a mix minus that will help the audio get through. And then I opened up the Farrago that has connected to the loopback, and that is where we will play the Tarabuster theme song. And then I checked the cameras, and I also checked the internet to make sure it was going smoothly. So then I made a little graphic and I posted it. So then I hit begin, or whatever that, I think it said start. That's what the button said. And suddenly the show was on, and here I am in the show. And then I couldn't believe it, that while I was on the show, some of the cats ran by. One of them even wanted to jump on my lap, and I allowed it. I did, and then he jumped down, so it was not that bad, and I can't believe it. I said it happened again. The cats jumped up again.
Help from his department. The Attorney General also called, along with Maine's own U.S. Attorney, to offer their help. Right before I came into this building, I had a call from the Deputy Director of the FBI, who told me that there are 80 FBI agents on site participating in the search for the killer. 80. That doesn't include other people from the Marshal's Office, from the ATF, the DEA, and the Department of Homeland Security, and the Coast Guard.
Nothing about the gun.
This has been a concerted effort at the
to
state,
distract
local,
everyone
and
from
federal
the actual
level.
problem.
And everyone is determined to bring the killer to justice.
Except we
to
will
the
do nothing
families of those who have
to make
been
sure it never
injured
happens again.
or killed. I
So
know
sick.
that no words can fully ease the shock, the pain, and the justifiable anger that you are feeling.
Yeah, justifiable anger at you.
My hope is that you will feel the solace and strength in knowing that you are in the hearts of the people of Maine.
I'm sure
and
they
of
feel real
people
comforted.
throughout our nation.
Oh, they're in the hearts of people. Really? When I go on Twitter, I see a bunch of assholes saying, shall not be infringed. Oh, you're in the hearts of people, but we will do nothing. I see nothing but thoughts and prayers from the effing obstructionists, from the insurrectionists who are taking blood money hand over fist. I mean, what is she saying? It's vomit-inducing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now here comes another guy.
I'd
He's a Democrat.
now like to introduce the Congressman Jared Golden, who represents this area of Maine.
Well, he says he takes some responsibility.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you to Mayor Shalene as well. My name is Congressman Jared Golden from the town of Lewiston, represent Maine's 2nd Congressional District. Some of you might not recognize me because Congress has been so crazy lately. I haven't gotten a haircut in months. So sometimes things happen that bring your worst nightmares to life. Yesterday, this is what happened in Lewiston. At a time like this, a leader is forced to grapple with things that are far greater than his or herself. Humility is called for as accountability is sought by the victims of a tragedy such as this one. Out of fear of this dangerous world that we live in my determination to protect my own daughter and wife in our home and in our community, because of a false confidence that our community was above this and that we could be in full control, among many other misjudgments, I have opposed efforts to ban deadly weapons of war like the assault rifle used to carry out this crime. The time has now come for me to take responsibility for this failure, which is why I now call on the United States Congress to ban assault rifles like the one used by the sick perpetrator of this mass killing in my hometown of Lewiston, Maine.
See, Susan? That's how you do it. What did Susan Collins say? In all of that, whatever that was, 5 minutes of nothing. I saw the flag at half-staff, and then I took a call. I took a call from the Attorney General. I took a call from the Chief of Police. I took a call from the President, who left the dinner to call me. And then he said, we will do whatever. We will do whatever it takes. And that's what we will do. And in fact, the Democrats are talking about an assault weapons ban again. That the Republicans let expire. And here we are. And I remember when that happened. I remember seeing a headline on the Huffington Post about how the assault weapons, how the Republicans let it expire. And I thought, oh shit. This will come back and bite us in the ass, because that's what happens. Republican policies always come home to roost in failure. Republican chickens always come home to roost in failure. They always do. Like I was saying with Trump, saying, well, why not spend, because when it collapses, we're not going to be in office. It'll collapse during the next sucker's administration. But this guy, he's spot on. This is a Democrat, though. That's the thing. He said, I opposed efforts to ban assault weapons, and I need to take responsibility for that now. And I'm changing my stance. That's what you do when you have new information. I don't know. Maybe he was taking NRA blood money. Who knows? I don't know. I didn't look it up on him. But what did Susan Collins have to say? Besides nothing. That's what they do. A whole lot of words coming out of their mouths, meaning nothing. No responsibility, no accountability, no agency. It's just like the sun and the moon and the stars. The sun, the moon, the stars on our shirts, the eagles that fly. We have no control. There's nothing we can do. Oh, well. Nothing we can do.
3 precious little kids lost their lives, and I believe 3 adults, I believe it's. And,
there's another book
and the shooter,
report.
of course, lost their life, too. So it's a horrible, horrible situation. And we're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals. And my daddy fought in the Second World War, fought in the Pacific, fought the Japanese, and he told me, he said, buddy, he said, if somebody wants to take you out and doesn't mind losing their life, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do about it.
Not a whole heck of a lot, except didn't we beat the Japanese? Didn't we win World War II? Oh, well. It's not like they were like, oh, well, you know, they just want to take France and Europe, the whole goddamn thing. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do.
When 9/11 happened, we didn't ban planes. We secured the cockpit.
Have one door into and out of the school and have that one door armed police officers at that door.
There should be one entrance in and one entrance out in all of our elementary and all of our middle schools.
Infrastructure protection is very important, and it's clear that when we look at the flimsy fencing in this particular school, that things could have been done differently.
There are billions of dollars sitting out there after COVID for schools that we should redirect that money to allow the schools to use that to have one central point of interest to protect these kids.
Having potentially teachers and other administrators who have gone through training and who are armed.
What about getting a department that can look at young men, that's looking at women, that's looking at just social media?
Overall, the solution is renewed faith, stronger families, more supportive communities.
Yeah, that's it. Unreal. Look at this shit. Fucking disgrace.
We need more than thoughts and prayers. We demand action from our lawmakers.
Yeah, we demand action. Except we get book reports. I went to the bathroom. I washed my face. I looked. I rubbed my eyes. I said, is that a half-mast on that on that flag, I mean? I almost said stag, because I was thinking about how we have a grand tradition of murdering animals for no good reason. And if I saw a stag, I'd want to go boom, boom, boom. Kill. I wanted to kill it. Kill it. Kill, kill, kill. Because that's what we do here. We bond over killing. Fucking unreal. I went to the window. I picked up the phone. It was the president. He said, "Hello, Susan." I said, "Hello, Mr. President." He said, "I'm so sorry what happened in Maine. Another killer." I said, "Please, please, please don't worry about the assault weapons because there are many good guys with a gun." And then he said, "That was a good guy with a gun before he became a bad guy with a gun." And they said, "Oh, well, I have a very high rating with the NRA." Let's see what Susan Collins' rating is. Susan Collins rating NRA. Maine shooting highlights Republican senators' voting record on gun control. The Republican senator Susan Collins is facing sharp criticism for her previous voting record on gun control after a mass shooting in her home state of Maine killed 18 people and injured more than a dozen. Collins, a U.S. senator from Maine since 1990, effing 7. Oh my God! You see what I'm talking about? Go away. Received backlash to a statement she posted after a mass shooting on Wednesday. In the south of Maine, the attack happened when a gunman opened fire at a local bowling alley because, you can't go bowling here in America. We're not free to go fucking bowling. That's what you want to die, bowling. When you go bowling, you're taking your life in your hands. Jesus Christ. You can't go to a bar. There was some kind of stupid gathering at a bar. They were playing a game. It was, I don't remember, some dumb, stupid game night. Yeah, you can't go to game night at the bar. Can't go bowling. Can't go to a supermarket. You can't go to a concert. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. I know that's annoying. Sorry. The attack happened when a gunman opened... Man. See, a man. Not a trans shooter. I was looking at all these other gun massacres, and the last time, one of the times, there was someone who claimed to be trans, but they were probably... there was a lot of issues. They had issues. But it doesn't matter. But the Republicans politicized it. Because they hate trans people. They want you to hate trans people like they hate. So they want to say, oh, they're crazy. They're all committing massacres. And meanwhile, here in reality. So, yeah, just don't politicize it. Please, please, whatever you do, don't be a politician, even though that's your job, and politicize it. That's why we send these assholes to Congress, right? So, and the Senate. We don't send them to do politics. We send them to do prayers. We send them to do nothing except prayers, and then when they're asked questions about policy, they're like, shut up. Shut up. We're here. We're very united in our hatred of America and the pillars of democracy. You know, we all hate. That's why we elected this insurrectionist who is a christofascist who hates America. He hates gay people, trans people. Like, he wants to send women to die in back alleys. He says that mass shootings are caused by abortion. That's what he says. Even though, you know, the abortion rate goes down under Democratic policies, I hate to tell you. And all that criminalizing abortion does is make it unsafe and send women to die in back alleys. But, okay. What do I know? I'm just Tarabuster. I'm just Tara from the lovely, delightful show called Tarabuster. The delightful. Yes. Oh, well, I was thinking about opening the phones. I see you guys talking about it. Maybe we'll open the phones tomorrow. What do you think? Tara opens the phones rarely, Errol Thomas, but then no one calls in. That's why I'm reluctant to open the phones. Because we get some shyness up in this bitch. But I can open the phones. We'll do it tomorrow. How's that? I will open the phones tomorrow. What do you think? You guys can vote in the chat. If you want the phones open on Friday, why not? Why not? Let's see. So what did Susan Collins say? In a statement after the shooting, Collins thanked those for showing support, including Joe Biden. As our state mourns the horrific shooting, we appreciate the support we received from across the country, including a call I received for President Biden offering assistance. But many on social media criticized Collins for her previous stances on gun control and her votes that have helped prevent stronger laws from being put in place. Okay, I will take you up on that, Twisted Nerves. Twisted Nerve says that they will be calling in to the Tarabuster show, the Tarabuster hotline, tomorrow. Oops. There's a computer over there and I almost fell. You helped make this happen, wrote one user on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. Fuck that. Vote for sensible gun laws, another commenter said. In her 26-year career, Collins has voted down several Senate amendments on gun control, according to data from Vote Smart, a nonpartisan nonprofit that collects data on candidates' voting records. In 2013, Collins rejected 2 Senate amendments that would have banned the sale of assault rifles and limited access to firearm magazine capacity. Collins also supported allowing loaded guns into state parks and concealed carry of firearms across state lines. What a dumb bitch. More recently, Collins was one of 15 Republicans who voted for the 2022 bipartisan gun bill, which ended nearly 3 decades of congressional inaction on the issue. The legislation expanded background checks for gun owners under the age of 21. Under the age, right? It has to be under the age of 21, because over 21, you know, you're good. And toughened laws against gun trafficking, among other initiatives. Collins had a B rating with the NRA. Let's see. As of 2022. B. That's still not a F, you bitch. Oh, boy. I mean, Senator. Here's the picture I wanted to show you earlier about how Republicans are hypocrites who hate their Jesus they pretend to worship. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at all these white men. This is the House floor. In case you are on audio only or don't know what we're looking at here, These are a bunch of Republicans kneeling in prayer on the floor of the House. And one of these dudes he's got his hands. They got their hands around each other. They got their Bibles. It's such a fucking performance. Such a performance. Because, you know, in the privacy of their own homes or wherever, they're, you know, they don't act, they're not very Christian. Let's put it that way. Everything they vote for, let's see. I wanted to wait. Let me put this into the AI. Republicans say they are Christian, but let's see, how do I put this? But give me examples of all the policies they endorse or promote. They promote that explicitly goes against the teachings of Jesus, like, for example, well, I guess I would just say, for example, their wait. They are Christian. For example, their love of assault weapons, and hatred of let's see, how should I put this? I'll say immigrants. Let's see what it says. Let's see here. The question asks for examples of Republican policies that explicitly go against the teachings of Jesus. Oh, I forgot about the wealth and poverty. Well, for the question. I didn't forget about it, but some Christians view Republican Party's stance on immigration as being in conflict with Jesus' teachings. Jesus himself was a refugee, and the Bible contains many passages that instruct believers to welcome and care for strangers and foreigners. Some Christians may view the Republican Party's support for stricter immigration policies and opposition to programs like DACA as being in conflict with Jesus' teachings. Wealth and poverty. The Bible contains many passages that condemn the accumulation of wealth and call on believers to care for the poor and the marginalized. Some Christians may view the Republican Party's policies on taxes, welfare, and health care as being in conflict with these teachings. For example, some Christians may view the Republican Party's support for tax cuts for the wealthy and opposition to universal health care as being in conflict with Jesus' teachings on wealth and poverty. Some. Guns and violence. While the Bible does not explicitly address the issue of guns, because, you know, it was written 2,000 years ago by a bunch of men, some Christians may view the Republican Party's support for gun rights and opposition to gun control as being in conflict with Jesus' teaching on nonviolence and peacemaking. Some Christians may view the prevalence of gun violence in the United States as a symptom of a culture that values guns over human life. Some? Let's see. Let me see. I wanted to point another thing out as we look at that picture. Let me see. Gotta copy that. Save image as. Republicans praying. I should say fake Christians praying. See, producing the show while we go. Let's remind everyone about Jesus. What did Jesus say about shit like this? Matthew 6:5 to, how do you, I don't remember how to say this, 6:5-6. I went to Catholic school. I don't remember how to even do that. Where Jesus says, "And when you pray, you shall not be as the hypocrites, for they love to pray in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, so that they may be seen by others. Truly, I say to you, they have their reward. But when you pray, enter into your room, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father in secret, and your Father who sees in secret shall reward you openly." And when I asked the AI, what does it mean, surely or truly they have their reward? It means that what they're saying is that God is not going to give you a reward because they have their reward. It's being seen in public praying. So when you should not do that because they're just doing it to be seen, and clearly God doesn't want to give them a reward for that, so he's just going to ignore them. Their reward is is everyone going, "Wow, what a great prayer they are." What a great bunch of prayer people. And I mean, what the F, right? What the F? What the fuck is this, really? So ridiculous. With their on the floor of the house. Go away. Go into your office, in the closet. Oh, they knew, that there are cameras there. They knew it was going to get picked up. They knew that it was going to get, seen by whoever, by me, by you, by the fake Christians who were like, "Look, isn't this great? I'm tired. I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk. I'm tired." Like like this effing new speaker who is a fascist who hates America. He said he's the same way. He's tired of this separation in church and state junk. That, in case you don't know, that's Lauren Boebert, but the new speaker, Mike Johnson, he's the same way. He's an election denier. He's a traitor. He's an extremist.
The radical sort of homosexual agenda of the country wants judges to decide this issue and not the people.
We don't live in a democracy, because a democracy is two wolves and a lamb deciding what's for dinner, okay? It's not just majority rule. It's a constitutional republic. And the founders set that up because they followed the biblical admonition on what a civil society is supposed to look like. Certainly, there's a move to keep religion out of politics and to rigidly enforce the so-called separation of church and state. Many of us have been working for this day our entire adult lives, and it is a great, joyous occasion.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America, period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this.
See what that means? It's everything I was talking about, or that we talk about in general. That, they just want cheap labor. That's all. Oh, we wouldn't be upside down in the economy if we had all these able-bodied workers? Well, why don't you stop, making more abortions then, if that's what you're worried about, because Republican policies they certainly do not reduce the abortion rate. The separation of church and state junk. Well, what about, it says right there in the Constitution, or the, where does it say? Is it the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, where it says no religious test? Let's say no religious test. Article 6, Clause 3 of the Constitution. Yes, says no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office of public trust under the United States. This clause prohibits the government from requiring any religious test for holding public office. It applies to all federal and state office holders. No religious test is included in the Constitution to prevent religious discrimination and ensure that all individuals, regardless of their beliefs, could hold public office. But there's, it's part of the First Amendment too. You don't have a right. I mean, this is not a Christian nation, as the founders themselves often pointed out. The clause was introduced and intended to promote religious freedom and to avoid any entanglement between church and state. It has been cited as it says, although no religious test clause is the only explicit reference to religion in the original 7 articles of the Constitution, it has been cited as an example of original intent of the framers of the Constitution to avoid any entanglement between church and state. Thomas Jefferson used the metaphor of a wall of separation between church and state in his letter to the Danbury Baptist Association. This metaphor has been used to express the understanding of the intent and the function of the First Amendment. We establish no religion in this country. We command no worship. We mandate no belief, nor will we ever. That's, guess what? St. Ronald Reagan. Church and state are and must remain separate. A quote again by St. Ronald Reagan. The First Amendment has erected a wall of separation between church and state, and it shall be kept high and impregnable. I can't even talk. That is, who is that? Hugo Black. Hugo Black. You never go back. Get it? That's his name. What do you want me to say? The divorce between church and state ought to be absolute. It ought to be absolute that no church property anywhere in any state or in any nation should be exempt from equal taxation. For if you exempt the property of any church organization to the extent you impose a tax on the whole community. That was President Garfield. I believe in America where the separation of church and state is absolute. John F. Kennedy. All right. Listen. We got more to talk about. We got more to do. And we will do it tomorrow because, trying to keep it to the 2-hour mark a little bit. You know what I'm saying, G? You know what I'm saying? My cats were not that bad tonight. Look at Boudica. Isn't she a good girl? She's so cute. Booty. Hi, Booty. She's so cute. Thank you, Charlie, for your donations to Little Booty Boo. I call her Booty Boo. It just happened. It's a nickname. I sing to her. I sing the Scooby-Doo song to her. I say, Booty, Booty, Boo, I see you. You're cute and you are pretty. Come on, booty boo. I see you. And I wanna pet that kitty. And then I do the whole chorus about you're gonna get yourself a booty snack. That's a fact. All right. Look how cute. She's cute and she is pretty. All right. Stop singing. Listen, 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 listen. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. And that's all I can say is I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Remember, I will see you tomorrow at the same bat time, same bat channel, 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, remember, we will win. Cute, cute. Because, yes, don't get copyrighted. Exactly. They might hit me with a strike for that song. Shit. I take it back. All right. We will win. There's going to be more. I have more stuff. If I start it now, I'll never get to sleep. But we will win. Love you too, guys. I love you. We're on the... And thank you for your super chat, Elise and Jim. And thank you, Haiku, for doing your duty in the chat room. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Jim, for also being a moderator. And we have a lot more to talk about, so... Oh, and thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News, for supporting Tarabuster and making this show a part of your roster. It means a lot. It really, really does. And for your love of little Boudica. All right. We will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will see you tomorrow night.